Hey guys, welcome to Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 9 of Digital Evolution, Entrepreneur's Guide to Evolving Online. Today, Brandy Lawson of Fiery FX and I are going to talk about email marketing and specifically kind of comparing my past operating procedures with my new soon-to-be operating procedures. So as you know, we always wear headgear for this one. And so you're a cowboy and I'm a kitty today.
Yeah.
But you're in Montana, so right now, so it really makes sense that you'd be in cowboy gear. Did you buy that from one of the swag stores that was around?
No. At this point, I am just borrowing headgear from the places I'm at. So that this belongs to my parents. It's a very wide brimmed cowboy hat.
This is your mom. I love it. So we're talking email marketing. I'm like, don't you like my fancy lights?
Ooh, so fancy.
These are the lights that you can put underneath your counter, and it's perfect because they have a little thing on them, and I can just pop them right on the top of my computer.
Bam.
Yep. See?
Voila.
There you go. So I have light. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about evaluating my current email marketing strategy and then kind of deciding how it's going to be evolving moving forward. So
yes. So as we've talked about the big picture, we've now gotten down to specific channels. We've evaluated, so like your website channel. Now we're to your email marketing channel. And just before we get started, I want to address isn't email marketing dead? No. Email. So email's never going to die and email marketing is never going to die. However, how you use it will change and evolve. So even though you've had a real catalyst to be having this conversation, even people who aren't having like big shifts in their business or big shifts in their brand, reevaluating your email marketing strategy on the regular will help it stay fresh. So the channel itself is not going away. How you use the channel, how you communicate in the channel does change.
So that does come up a lot with email marketing because nobody checks their email anymore. Is what you hear, right?
Right.
But your email being in their email box with a compelling subject line is still there. Even if they don't open up your email, they're reminded every week that you exist.
So currently we send out email every other week to our subscriber base. And I try to, like, in my business, I position it as a love letter to my clients and prospective clients. And I had somebody reach out after we sent the email, said, oh, right, you landed in my inbox. And I thought, I need to talk to Brandy about this. So part of it is staying top of mind.
Exactly.
And what your business is and who you're talking to has all to do with how you're using email marketing. So like just off the top, like it's not dead. It is still a thing. It is definitely still factors into how you're marketing your business.
Right.
How you use it and what goes in the emails and how frequently, that all is very subject to change and you should be evaluating that. But it's still a channel that you should be employing.
100%.
Awesome. So which business line are we talking about today, Michelle? Which email marketing strategy are we evaluating?
So I have had to really think through my email marketing strategy because in the past, when I had my brand Fearlessly Deliver, that's where the email marketing came from.
Mm-hmm.
And now making a decision on where it belongs in my brands, I've decided to have my blog, as I'm rebuilding MichelleMicalizzi.com, live under MichelleMicalizzi.com. So my personal brand, right? And which relates to my art brand, which relates to my writing. So I'm a visual journalist. And what I do is I tell stories and I illustrate them. So I decided to have all the stories that I tell live in MichelleMicalizzi.com. Now, that will mean that all of my brands will have a separate space within MichelleMicalizzi.com. So Relentless Talk Radio will have an article, and Micalizzi Enterprises will have an article, and Michelle Micalizzi Art and Fashion will have an article, and Micalizzi Rides, which has been part of my art brand, will also have an article. So I will separate things out and then have those things linked to my blog. But what I've learned over time that is, if I am writing a particular story about a topic that has an art relation to it, that if I put the story in the blog, it gets read more.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm writing a blog that's like a 5 takeaways or whatever, that's going to go on the top of the newsletter, and then links to my blog and to my websites go on the bottom.
Okay, so let's first evaluate. Okay, so who is, like, how do people subscribe? Like, where do they come from? Who are these people?
People have been subscribing to my email marketing list for the past 6 years in a variety of ways. So in my disclaimer on the bottom, I say, I'm reminding you that you subscribe to this blog by coming to a gallery opening, by signing up for a guest list, by attending a Micalizzi Enterprises networking event, by joining a Relentless Talk Radio something, you know. So I'm putting all the different ways they could potentially join that list on the bottom of my email marketing list.
Okay, and previously, did you have a specific time frame in which you were sending out information, or were they just getting blogs as they were getting published? Like, before we're evolving, what was the experience like with the email marketing?
So when Fearlessly Deliver was, I was doing a project. They would get so an art project would be like the Art of Fearlessly Doing Business, where I highlight 13 business owners, or the Art of Fearlessly Giving Back, where I'm highlighting a charity, or Micalizzi Gives, where I'm doing some type of fundraising activity. There's usually a 15-week long project attached to that, and every week there would be a blog and a painting. Huge, intense work situation, because every week I'm interviewing someone, I'm writing a blog, and I'm painting a painting. Huge amount of work. So usually what would happen is they would come in 15-minute blasts. Now this year, what I want to do is have a bi-monthly blog and a bi-monthly newsletter that's associated with the blog. So I've had my email marketing somewhat on hold. I think I've probably sent out 1 email a month for the past year, maybe even less than that, just trying to recalibrate. But moving forward, my plan is to have a bi-monthly newsletter that attaches to my bi-monthly blog.
Okay. And so you're clear now about how to do that. And it's good that you've been keeping in touch, because sometimes when things are shifting in our business, we're like, I don't know what to send out. I just won't do anything. Well, if you go cold on your audience, then they're really going to forget.
And I have gone cold a little bit on my email marketing list for sure. I absolutely have. And I'm planning on correcting that. So I've definitely been victim. But, you know, I think the difference is maybe I've gone cold, but I know that I've kind of made a decision to go cold. And, you know, but I mean, it's hard because you're change so many things that I'm moving, and you know, there's only so many hours in a day. So the email marketing has fallen off the list a little bit, but it's going to go more on the list.
Yeah, and that's like, it's not unrecoverable. So if this happens, I think the best thing to do with your audience is to call it out. Like, if you all of a sudden are going to get back on the horse, yeah, as it were, and get into, then just like tell them what's going on. And the next thing that you send out, go, hey, you maybe haven't seen me in your inboxes so frequently. You know, here's what's been going on with me. Here's what to expect going forward, because this is where I think people get either burned by email marketing, or they feel like they're not being understood by their audience. Is that your audience actually has no idea what's going on in your business unless you tell them.
Right.
We like to think that everyone's stalking us on social and knows everything. But the truth is that if you're going to change something, if you are planning to change something with your email marketing, either you're going to go less or go more, tell your audience. If you have fallen off the horse and you're ready to get back on, tell your audience. Like, just be really upfront so that people can make a decision and people can be reminded, because we're human beings.
Yeah,
we forget stuff. Like, maybe we signed up and then we didn't hear from you, and then you come back in our audience, and if you've shifted, this is the other thing that with an evolving business, maybe like for you, they signed up with the art gallery, and then like they've been following the art, and now you're subtly shifting that art's still a piece, but it's not as much of a piece anymore. Just making sure that they know that, so they can go, oh, okay, now I see what she's doing, and I can see the connection. So
that's usually what that story is in the beginning. The first paragraph is always, hey, this is what's going on for me. And in fact, the last one I sent out was, hey, acknowledging the darkness. Here's what's been going on in my life. And here's what the plan is moving forward. So I'm due for, I'm rebuilding my website this week and next. And as soon as I get that blog done, then I'm going to send another email saying, hey, here's the new branded website. Here's how it all fits together. So I did the, hey, I've done a change. You're going to start seeing things differently. And then the next one's going to be, here's how it is. And also letting people know that if how my new thing is not your deal, definitely feel free to unsubscribe, but do me a favor. Don't unsubscribe with, you didn't ask me part of this list. Exactly how I'm going to, but everybody who's on my list, I'm really a stickler about spam. I think it's a really stupid thing to do, to just grab emails and spam people. In fact, I will on purpose not do business with people who spam me. It's really inconsiderate, quite frankly. So I want to make sure that I address that. Hey, here's your out. Like I've made a shift. And if you are only about art and you're not interested in the rest of the things I'm doing, that's totally cool. No hard feelings. You're free to unsubscribe. Here's how I'd like you to do that. So that people can feel like, okay, I can unsubscribe without hurting Michelle's feelings, but also they can unsubscribe in a way that doesn't hurt my rating MailChimp, which is the
right. Yeah, deliverability is definitely a thing. So, so you figured out like what was working. You've determined the role of your email marketing going forward and how it supports. Because the other thing about email marketing is that if you have an e-commerce store, like if you're Wayfair or whatever, like there's a specific thing, you're selling something in an email, or you're following up with someone who looked at something. Most of the time in a service business, that's not the case. Your email is about informing, educating, but then there is also a point where you connect that to the thing that you're selling. So it's much, I'd say it's more similar to social, where you're about giving and then asking. It's not always an ask, because if a sales email ends up in my inbox twice a month, I'm definitely unsubscribing. But if a really helpful email ends up in my inbox twice a month, or a connection email, or like something that I'm looking forward to reading and engaging with, and then at the end, like if this was helpful and you want our help, like do this, just make sure that there's a connection between the content you're providing to the service that you're selling in a way that is human. And not like,
can we talk about that for a second, the human thing?
Sure.
Well, two things. One, first of all, 100%. I realize that value is the most important thing. And although I've had to take a step back in certain areas of my business this year to kind of recalibrate, I've never taken a step back from offering value. In fact, that's been the most important thing for my business this past year has been about authenticity, transparency, and value. I haven't done a lot of asking. I've done a lot of relationship building. So that's been kind of a cool experience for me. But I think that you're right about emails being, I love your emails, by the way. Your subject lines are brilliant. I'm like, yeah, cool. That's awesome. They're like very like, wait a minute, what is she? I got to open that up and see what's going on. And the second thing is that we were talking about, wait, hang on, I lost it because I got lost in your subject email. So you were talking about value, and then what else were you talking about?
Being human.
LinkedIn especially makes me nut. When people send me a message that's like, hi, thanks so much for connecting with me. You're fantastic. Here's my widget. You want to buy it? And I have no idea who they are. My most favorite thing is when they offer me their widget and it's something I do. So they haven't even had to taken time to like just briefly look at my profile, my bio, just like the little tiny, like just briefly look at what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So the human factor is so important. You can't just write an email that's like a machine wrote it, and there's no humanness to it. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. You wouldn't walk up to somebody at a cocktail party and say, "Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm in health and wellness. Do you want to buy my stuff?" You wouldn't do that. You'd be like, "Hey, how are you? What do you do? Beautiful shirt. Love the hair. What a beautiful night." You would create some time. You wouldn't just walk up to a stranger in a restaurant, just out of the blue, not knowing them, and say, "Hi, I'm Brandy. You want to buy my stuff?" You just wouldn't do that. Don't do that. Ugh.
And how that translates with email, sometimes like if someone opts in and gives you their email address, it's good to acquaint them with what to expect. Right. So that when you deliver your thing that they opted in for, or when they sign up for the first time with your email, like giving them the short, like, "Hey, so glad you're here. Here's your thing. Here's what you can expect from me." It's that.
I like that. I haven't done that, but that's brilliant.
Well, that's a way because again, we're just human beings, right. And we bring with us our own context. And so if I've had a bad experience opting into stuff before, I may not opt in. But right. if I really want the thing you're offering, or if I really was interested and I say, yes, I want to subscribe, if you give me that little bit of orientation, if you give me that little bit of like, "Hey, glad you're here. Here's what you can expect. Like, here's when the emails come." And if that changes, then just let me know. But then I'm not surprised. Like if you sign up for a 5-day challenge, you kind of expect you're going to get a lot of emails from this person in 5 days because they're trying to get you to do something, and you obviously wanted to do the thing because you signed up for the challenge. Right. But then if after the 5-day challenge, I'm still getting a daily email from you, I'm probably going to be like, "What the hell is going on?" Right. Because I signed up for a 5-day challenge. So just making sure you like take a step into the receiving part of this and go, "All right, have I communicated enough? Have I set the expectations? Have I built this relationship with this person?"
And it's so easy because you get an automatic reply within MailChimp, but you can maybe using a different email editor, but I can literally put a verb in there, a little paragraph that says, "Here's what to expect."
Yes.
Like Netflix. This was what was on last week. This is what's coming on next week. I love it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you for the recommendation. I really appreciate that.
Exactly. And I think sometimes we get real into the, "Oh, I'm supposed to do this. This is the email marketing way." And I'm like, no. Just be a human being.
I love it. Love it. So, 100%. I mean, and people, I had a member of my team the other day ask in one of our main threads, "How should I respond to a comment on social media?" And I thought, I had to step back for a second. And then I just thought, you just respond like you would to any other human being. You know what I mean? Like, I think we overcomplicate this thing. Business is done because people create relationships, and people will do business with like, know, and trust. So if someone says something on social media, talk to them like you'd want to be talked to if you were asking that question. Or if somebody you don't know, friends you on social media, say what I say is, "Hey, nice to electronically meet you virtually in this crazy world. Have we actually met in person?" Mm-hmm. And that just starts a conversation. They go, "Well, no, I saw you with your kitty ears on the other day and I thought you looked kind of interesting." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, is that because you like kitties or you like blingy ears? Or tell me more about that." You just have to start having conversations with people.
Yes. Like and sometimes I think in business when we get uncertain, so when we're trying something new, or if we're like branching out and then we get uncertain, I think that's when we snap back into the robot mode. Yeah. And I think that's the opportunity when we are feeling, "Oh, like I'm uncertain." Like your team member was uncertain about how to do that. She reached out for help. But I think that's the point where we can really be like, "Okay, let's just tap into my humanity as a person, not a business, not a marketing, but like as a person. What would I do here? What would I want to say? Who would I want to be?"
Love it. 100%. Yeah.
All right. So now we know that you're evolving. You've got kind of a plan, but as we've talked about before, you can't do all the things at once. So let's talk about the good, better, best for upgrading. So I've given you a couple ideas about things that you could do. So baseline, good. You've set expectation with your people. You have a system where you have your people set up. And so I'll just like drag out my little soapbox for a second on never do email marketing using blind copy. Don't do the BCC email. Don't do it.
So smart. So for people,
don't do it.
It means going into your email and just putting everybody, oh, God forbid, not putting them on BCC, just putting them on your email. Don't do that.
Don't send mass emails. Don't. So the basics of the basics is sign up for an email marketing account. MailChimp is free. There's a ton of ones out there. Sign up for that before you start building your list if possible, because all of these,
I love MailChimp.
MailChimp's great. All of these apps help you get people subscribed in a way that is legal, because there's such a thing as CAN-SPAM Act, which there's legal and non-legal ways to get email. Yes. Okay. Basically, don't be stupid. So many words. But get people's permission to put them on your list. And then when you send out emails, give them an easy way to get off of your list. Like, this is the basics of the basics.
You and I were talking about this pre-interview. So one of the things I used to do with the gallery is I would do a list, a guest list and a little check thing. Do you want to sign up for the email, right? So I have proof somewhere in my guest books that somebody signed up. But what happens sometimes is that people forget that they signed up. So I actually started to do double confirmation. Mm-hmm. So when I put someone into my email marketing campaign, I do it from my website. So it sends them an email saying, you just signed up for this email marketing. Is that correct? Right? And then they double confirm.
Right. Yes.
Because I don't want them to say I didn't get their confirmation.
Right. And you don't want people to mark your emails as spam, because reputation is basically how all of the mail deliverers look at where you're sending email from and decide if it's going to go into the inbox or if it's going to go into the spam box. When
somebody checks off that you just spammed me thing, I send them a personal email afterwards. I can't help myself. And I say, hey, listen, I'm really sorry that you felt that I spammed you. I just want to remind you that you attended XYZ event and you signed up for this. And I'm happy to remove you. I just want to let you know that I do respect you and I would never send you email without your permission.
Right.
It doesn't do anything for my email marketing thing, but it makes me feel better.
Well, right. So basics of the basics, sign up for an email marketing service. Don't actually care which one you use, but MailChimp is a very great choice. So that's the good. So you already have that covered. Bam. So next is
even having it covered, I get snagged on it. Pisses me off.
Yes. So next thing is that now you have a content count, like what you're sending, because you have this whole blog thing, what you're going to send out. So I think when you go to evolve, when you go to change things, being consistent for your audience is one of the most important basics 100%. That you can do, is to just keep showing up how you said you were going to show up.
So one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm creating an Airtable for all my social media posting. Mm-hmm. And it's linking into my Trello projects, which are my blog and my newsletter projects. So when people are seeing me, they're seeing, here's my theme. Even my Facebook Lives lately, I have a Relentless for food for thought topic every week on Relentless Talk Radio. I have a miracle mornings post I do on Mondays, and I have a fitness post I do on Mondays. So I've aligned those 3 topics together. So people are seeing me talk 3 times about, what was the topic this week? How difficulty equals opportunity. So they hear me on Monday talk about fitness in that relation. They hear me Monday talk about my headspace with business in that, headspace generally in that. And then they hear me on Relentless Talk Radio, and it'll be in my blog and it will be on my newsletter, so that people are seeing a common theme throughout.
Right. And so that's great. That's having that foundation makes it then easier to make sure you're consistent. So the good layer for me is you've got the app service in place for collecting and sending emails, And then you have a plan. So check. And then better is making sure that maybe you want a pretty template. So for me, visual emails are, unless you're Wayfair, unless you're selling a widget and you need pictures of the widget or clothes or that, email templates are not on my good layer. Maybe like you put it in the better layer, but when people are doing email, a lot of it's on the phone. So pictures are not as compelling unless you're buying a widget as they used to be. Email headers, not as important. It's a nice to have if you're trying to reinforce your visual brand, but I'd say that's in the better level and not the good level.
I'm happy to hear that, because I have, when I do my art shows, I have one picture of the piece that I just created, but I don't put a lot of other pictures in my emails. And the main reason has been time.
Yeah.
Like I have to, it's not like it's complicated to put a picture there. But like just this morning, I created out a Trello project for my team members with who they're communicating with and pictures that go with the communication on a text, right? And what they might want to say to them, just an idea. They can customize it if they want. But going to creating the copy, putting the copy into the space, getting the picture, each one of those steps takes time. And so every day I'm thinking, okay, I only have so many minutes in today. And if I take 5 minutes times 10, that's an hour. So how much, where can I shave off the fat? And one of the places that I've done that is by not being overly image intensive on my emails. So
yeah. And again, like, we're probably primarily talking to service-based business. If you're trying to sell me a bar stool and you don't include a picture of the bar stool in the email, I'm probably not going to buy it. But if we're talking about a service or we're talking about a relationship, it's a different thing. So, and then
bar stool, it's funny.
And then best is like having those nuanced things, like when someone subscribes, that they get that little welcome email, the segmentation in your email list. So maybe over time, you allow people to say, okay, my primary interest is art. So then they're getting like the once a month is sort of generic, and then they'll get specifically the art ones. Or if you go to have a special announcement that has particularly to do with one of your segments of business, you target those people who have expressed that interest. So the segmentation of your email list is, again, sort of that.
And I like that you touched on this, because when you get a free account, you get one list.
Mm-hmm.
So probably your first indication, if you have several different things that you're doing, like this is my motorcycle list, and this is my art list, and this is my Relentless Talk radio list. I have one list that I segment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be adjusting as I'm rebuilding my websites, I'm adjusting my opt-in to allow people to check off what they're most interested in.
Yep.
So it goes into a segment.
Yes. And even sometimes another way to do segmentation is maybe you'll have something that's coming up, like a charitable event that you're going to be talking about for some time. You can allow people to opt out of just that campaign. Like basically, if they're like, oh, I already donated, or it's not the thing. This happens with like partner launches and other things all the time. It's like, hey, I'm going to be talking about this thing for a while. If you're not interested in this particular thing, just click here. And it doesn't unsubscribe them from the list. It just takes them out of that segment. So
see, I didn't know you could do that. That's super smart, because you don't. The quickest way to make your email list get smaller is to annoy people.
Well, I think it's more than that, disengaged, because if
it becomes wallpaper.
Yeah, maybe I don't even.
What I feel about Wayfair, quite frankly.
Right.
Wayfair sends me far too many emails. I love Wayfair, but they send me a bazillion emails, and I just literally, it goes right to my clutter box. And if I have, brain dump time, I may go look at one of those emails, but mostly they just get thrown out.
Right. Yeah. So segmentation.
I'm aware that Wayfair is still in business, to our point.
Yes. Yes. So some of it is just like consistency and showing up. So that's sort of the good, better, best of evolving. Like, you don't have to have all the fancy widgets to start. Just make sure you have the basics covered, and then you can add on over time and keep, the priorities. Because when it comes to email marketing, content, like what you were saying and who you're saying it to and how you're relating to them, being human is what gets emails open. It's not emojis in the subject line. It's not fancy, smancy, this, blah, blah. It is being a real person.
And your emails are 100% that. And also, you do the same thing on LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn, do you combine your email and your LinkedIn together in your mind?
For me, my emails are, so I start everything with a video. So I do 5 90-second videos a month, and then my blogs and my social and ever that falls off of that. And then my email content comes out of that. But like I said, for me, I'm really positioned, if you get on my list, then I feel a real obligation to you to, like, I do write love letters to the people. Like, I want to create this relationship with you. I want you to know what's going on with me. I want to make sure that you feel like you're in a space that you're very taken care of and heard if you're on my email list. So that there's a different angle about my email than my other posts. But I've tried really hard to show up very authentically, because I think that's lacking in a lot of places. And I also think that that's why
Can we talk?
my audience, that's why my audience, like, people will say, I hate marketing, or I don't want to even want it with my website, or technology isn't for me, which I don't think any of those things is true, which is why I feel very obligated to talk extremely much like a human being when it comes to those topics. I
love the idea of doing a video. I hadn't thought about that yet. I think it's, I love the 90-second video idea, because then you're just picking your phone up and you're saying, hey, here's what's going on, guys. I'll do it all day long on social media. Why shouldn't I do it on my email thing? So thanks for the little brainstorm there. But I do believe that it was last March when I went to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. And I couldn't go this year, but hopefully there'll be another one next year. I can go. I love going in person because of the conversations that you have when you're waiting in line with people.
Exactly.
Sometimes the best things I've learned are waiting in line in the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like the chick behind you, like, has a great nugget. You're like, oh my God, you're a stranger. I don't remember your name, but that thing you just told me is going to change my business. Right. So right. I love being at places, but, I think it's important to remember that from that entire conference, the big thing that I came away with, it's just totally driven my entire business this year, was authenticity.
Yep.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Authentic, but leave your dirty laundry in the laundry basket, okay? I mean, can we talk about that for a second? Like, don't inject negativity. I was just, Mike Middleton, who's the developer of Growing Bolder, when he talks about getting older and who you should hang out with. And he's talking about how, hanging out with positive people and the influence of positive energy. But he said, I think people don't ever really talk about the negative influence that negative energy can have. Like, oh my God, don't send negative stuff in your email. Don't post it on your Facebook. If you have something going on in your personal life that's a little prickly, please do us all a favor and just do not post that shit on social media. Don't send it out in your email list. It is nobody's business but you and whomever it is that you're functioning with. And I mean, really, I don't want to get an email in my email box that is like negativity about anything. Like, I have zero time for that anyway. So if you're sending me something in my email that's negative, it's a very quick way to get an unsubscribe from me.
Right. Yeah.
Do not talk to me if you want to be depressed.
Right. Exactly.
Go watch a sitcom and listen to drama. Do not post that stuff and put it out into the universe. It's just a huge waste of your time and it hurts your business.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely paints, and I think that's also something people struggle with. It's like, well, what's authentic? Like, if I don't talk about this, is this authentic? And I think that's something everybody has to figure out for themselves, and have, like, you're about positive, and I'm also about positive, and like, I want to, like, if something, hard happens in my life, I don't like just want to completely close that off from being authentic.
Yeah.
But I don't need to like you said, air the whole dirty laundry. I can just say,
I can in a general way say, I'm having some challenging things go on in my life right now that are making me grow. I don't need to get into what the particulars are about those challenging things, especially when there's other people involved, because people have a right to their privacy. Just recently, Rachel Hollis posted that she and her husband are getting divorced. And I was amazed at how nasty people were to her. And, she had to say something. I mean, her whole entire shtick is about having coffee with her husband in the morning. But can you imagine being her? How would you approach that with your following when your whole following has been following you have coffee for the last however many years every morning with your husband? I mean, like, they had to really think about how they were going to propose that to their audience in a way that was the least harmful to all parties involved, including their audience. So I think that there are some things you have to address, but you have to be careful about how you address them.
Well, and I think it just comes back to being a human being. Like, don't. I'm in marketing. I think that there's angles on things, but really the master angle is just being a human being. I think Brene Brown does a great job of modeling what that looks like, because she is authentic. She studies vulnerability, so like really understanding what it is to be vulnerable and authentic without being like, without the overshare, without the what the hell is going on? I don't need that drama in my life. So
I just recently, John Travolta posted that his wife passed from breast cancer, and she chose to keep that stuff private for the 2 years that she was struggling with it. And I don't think that everyone needs to put their struggles out there into the universe to actually go through breast cancer and manage your social media's reaction to that at the same time. It's a personal decision. Like, some people may want to share that experience, and that's completely up to them. But I really respect Kelly Preston's decision not to share that and to leave her focus on her family and her husband during those crucial 2 years of her life. And I loved how I'm getting a chill as I'm saying it. I loved how he addressed it on social media. And I imagine he had a rendition of that in his email marketing.
I'm sure. And that back to it being a personal choice as being a human being. Like, we all have differences of opinion and things that we can handle and things we're willing to do and things we're willing to put up with. So yeah, it's a personal choice. So
because I felt that it was very authentic for her to, for both her and Rachel Hollis to choose to leave those personal items in their life that were challenging on the down low until they are prepared to share it. That is as authentic as somebody sharing, they're going in for their mammogram and going through the entire process. That's authentic too. But I think authenticity is a personal decision. And I think it's important to look at it from all aspects. And also to remind yourself that your dirty laundry is probably, or somewhat soiled laundry, or even stinky in some remote way, laundry is not really something that you have to share in order to be authentic.
Yes, I think that is a good key takeaway, is that authenticity and vulnerability does not mean everyone knows everything about everything all the time.
100%. So we usually talk about an app and a tool, and we talked about MailChimp, and we talked about having an active campaign, and we also talked about the opt-in for landing pages. So we've covered some key tool takeaways by kind of digging into MailChimp a little bit. Now, if what we have just said just confused the crap out of you and exasperated you and frustrated you beyond no end, you can always go to meetwithmick.com, and you can choose to and I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen so you guys can see it. And you can have a free consultation with Brandy and I, where we can discuss how exasperating email marketing actually really is, or can be, and make it easier on you, or any other aspect of your digital evolution that you want to discuss with us. We are always here on Thursdays at about 9 a.m.-ish, depending upon what's happening in our life. We might be stuck in traffic. We might be dealing with parents at the bank. We might be, putting on our kitty ears, quite frankly. So we're here every first and third Thursday at 9 a.m. on Relentless Talk Radio. You can catch us on youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com, or as of this episode, you can catch us on IGTV at Relentless Talk Radio. So you can watch us on Instagram, you can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on Facebook, and soon you'll be able to watch us on podcasts, because I'm building that process in. in this month, dang it. There's going to be a podcast up. And what I'll be doing with that is you can watch current replays on the day or two after we do a show. And then on Thursday and Friday, I'll have flashback Fridays and throwback Thursdays to watch prior episodes of Relentless Talk Radio, Digital Evolution, and the Video Lab. So that's
awesome.
I'm sticking to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again on the first Thursday of August. It's crazy.
That is so crazy.
Wasn't it just Christmas? I mean, I feel like what just happened? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're on the first Thursday of August. And anything else you want to add before we say cheerio?
No, use email marketing. It works. Be human.
Be human. Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you again on the first Thursday of August. Take care. Enjoy Montana, Brandy.
Thank you.
Bye.